What happens when a quiet 74-year-old man tries to welcome a new neighbor with a kind gesture and ends up being labeled unstable by his own family? What follows will make you question who the real threat was all along. The way he fights back leaves the entire town stunned. You know what they don't tell you when you hit 70? It's not your joints that hurt the most. It's that cold, invisible shrug you get from the world every damn day. That quiet message people send you. You've had your time. Sit down. Be quiet. Wait politely to disappear. Well, I'm not disappearing. Not yet. My name is Edward McKenna. I'm 74. I live alone in the same house I built with my own two hands 50 years ago. The same house where my wife, Margaret, and I raised two sons, painted the kitchen 3 times, and laughed ourselves breathless over burnt toast and late-night TV. She's been gone for 8 years now. Cancer. The kind that doesn't care if you're a good man or not. The kids? Oh, they're alive. Too alive to call. Too busy to visit. One's in San Diego, the other's in Austin. And I haven't heard from either of them since last Christmas. And even that was a recycled Happy Holidays email with a stock photo of a snowman wearing sunglasses. A few days ago, I saw a moving truck across the street. A new neighbor. A young woman, maybe mid-30s, 2 kids, and the sort of rushed, chaotic energy that reminded me of trying to balance a screaming toddler with a leaky faucet and a mortgage overdue by 2 weeks. I could have ignored it. That's what everyone else does now. Keep to themselves, hide behind blinds and passwords. But I'm not built that way. So I did what Margaret would have done. I baked banana bread. And not that bland grocery store garbage. I'm talking about real, rich, warm banana bread with cinnamon, walnuts, and a secret touch of nutmeg Margaret used to insist on. I even tied a little ribbon on the basket, added a jar of my homemade cherry preserves, and wrote a note. Welcome to the neighborhood. From Ed. Simple. Honest. Kind. I crossed the street, knocked gently, and smiled when the door opened. A little boy ran by inside, chasing a squeaky dinosaur. The woman looked tired, distracted. Hi there, I said. I'm your neighbor. Just wanted to say welcome. Thought you might like some fresh banana bread. She took the basket with barely a glance. Okay, thanks. Door closed. No smile. No, nice to meet you. No warmth. Just a slam of wood and deadbolt. Like I just offered her a dead rat in a basket. An hour later, I was taking out my trash and saw it. My basket. The one with the ribbon and the warm bread. Sitting on top of her garbage can. Still wrapped. Untouched. That moment? That was the knife. A clean, quiet cut. I stood there, heart cracking like old floorboards under winter boots, and stared at it. I wanted to yell, wanted to knock again and ask, what the hell did I do to deserve this? But I didn't. I picked up the basket, brought it back inside, and sat down with it in my lap like a relic from a better world. That night, it rained. Fitting, right? I was dozing in my recliner when I heard a knock. Not the polite kind, the desperate, shaky kind. I opened the door and stared into the past. Ed? A woman's voice whispered. She looked older, thinner, worn out, like a favorite coat someone forgot in the back of a closet. But those eyes, I knew them. Loretta? She nodded. Loretta was my brother's widow. We hadn't spoken in over 20 years. Family stuff. The kind of silent war where nobody remembers what the first bullet was, just that it left too many holes. I was driving through, she said. Saw your name still on the mailbox. I wasn't sure if I was still breathing. She gave a weak smile. Something like that. Come in, I said. It's late, and you look like hell. She laughed, just a little, and stepped inside. We drank tea, talked about everything, and nothing. Turns out she lives with her son now, Peter, the golden boy, the one who used to eat crayons and scream at squirrels when he was 5. Now he's the self-declared guardian of Loretta's well-being, which apparently includes not letting her talk to anyone from the past, especially me. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered, holding her mug like it was the last warm thing on earth. "You're here now," I said, "and you're safe." For a moment, the world made sense again. Two old souls sharing stories, laughing about arthritis and failed Jell-O recipes. It felt good. Human. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there he was. Peter. 40-something. Business casual. The kind of guy who wears a Bluetooth earpiece to the grocery store and thinks it makes him important. "What the hell is this?" he barked. "Evening to you, too," I said. "Care to step inside? Or would you rather shout at me from the porch?" He stormed in like he owned the place. "Mom, you said you were going to bed." "I needed to see Ed," she said quietly. "We talked about this. He's not safe. He's unstable." "Unstable?" I raised an eyebrow. "Son, the only unstable thing here is your attitude." He turned on me. "You're alone. You're isolated. You're not thinking clearly. And you're full of something I can't say in front of company." His face went red. "We're leaving," he snapped, grabbing Loretta's arm. She resisted, just a little. "She's not a prisoner," I said. "And this isn't your house." He glared at me like I'd just kicked his Tesla. "This isn't over." "No," I said, holding his stare. "It's just beginning." The next morning, it escalated. A woman showed up at my door, clipboard, polite smile, government badge. "Mr. McKenna?" We received a call from a concerned family member, just a routine wellness check. "Let me guess. Tall guy, smug face, lacks a sense of humor?" She gave me a tight smile. "We're here to make sure you're capable of self-care. I cook, clean, read, and remember where I put my socks. That more than qualifies me compared to half the people in Congress." She chuckled, but still walked through my house, opening drawers, asking questions. I answered every one, calmly, sharply, because I knew what was happening. This wasn't concern. This was erasure. They wanted to brand me as incapable, as declining, as someone who needed managing. Well, let me tell you something. I don't need managing. I need respect. That night, I sat in my kitchen with a pen in one hand and an old photograph in the other. It was Margaret and me, back in '76. Her smile could disarm armies. I looked at her and made a vow. They want silence. I'll give them a voice instead. Mine. What happened next turned everything upside down. You don't want to miss how this quiet old man became the storm they never saw coming. There's a moment when you stop being surprised, not shocked, not angry, just tired. The kind of tired that doesn't go away with a nap or a good cup of coffee. The kind of tired that settles in your bones because you realize, for the 1,000th time, that people see your wrinkles and assume your brain has folded in on itself like a lawn chair. But this time was different. Because I wasn't just tired. I was done. Done pretending I didn't notice how they looked at me like I was a charity case. Done smiling politely while they decided what I needed without asking. Done being the old man people talk about instead of talk to. So when that government agent left my house after her little wellness assessment and told me I seemed capable, for now, I didn't thank her. I didn't nod or pretend to be grateful. I watched her leave with that same feeling I had when I buried my dog. Something good was gone, and it wasn't coming back. Let me rewind. That same night, I looked out the window across the street. Peter's house, Lights on, curtains drawn. Safe little bubble of modern control. Loretta hadn't come by again, and I didn't blame her. The look in her eyes the night Peter dragged her out of my home said it all. Not fear, not guilt, just resignation. Like a prisoner who learned not to rattle the bars anymore because no one's listening. Well, I was listening. And I wasn't rattling the bars. I was about to break them. I started small. I pulled out my old typewriter, the one I hadn't used since I wrote letters to my wife in the hospital. It still worked. The keys stuck a little, like an old man's knees. But they moved when it counted. I wrote a letter, not to my sons. They'd made their silence loud enough. I wrote it to the editor of the local newspaper. Subject line: What happens to a man who's just old enough to be ignored? It wasn't just a letter. It was a story. My story. Loretta's story. The thousands of invisible seniors pushed into corners, silenced with good intentions and thick legal documents. I didn't rant. I didn't beg. I told the truth. With teeth. And I ended it with a question. Who decides when we stop being people and start being problems? Then I hit send. I didn't expect much. A form reply, maybe. But 3 days later, my phone rang. A real call, not a spam number or a robocall about car insurance. It was Angela Green, a reporter from the Tribune. I read your letter, Mr. McKenna, she said, and I cried. Would you be willing to talk more? Would I? She came over the next afternoon, young, sharp, and refreshingly unafraid of wrinkles. She listened, really listened, as I poured it all out. Peter, Loretta, the basket on the trash, the silent judgment, the wellness visits disguised as intrusion, the quiet war. She took notes, nodded, asked questions that didn't sound like tests, and then she asked the one question no one had bothered to ask in years. What do you want, Ed? I blinked. I want my voice back, I said. And I want people like Peter to stop pretending they're saints for locking the elderly in padded routines. We're not dying plants. We're people. She smiled. Then, let's give you your voice. The article dropped the following Sunday. Front page, full column. Invisible no more. One man's fight against the quiet erasure of seniors. My phone didn't stop ringing for 2 days. Neighbors I hadn't spoken to in years came by with casseroles and awkward apologies. Church friends sent letters. A woman I hadn't seen since 1978 called me crying, saying she felt seen for the first time in years. And then came the twist. Peter showed up. He didn't knock this time. He marched in with the confidence of a man who's used to having the last word. You wrote that article? He demanded. No, Peter. I dictated it to the voices in my head. Of course, I wrote it. It's making us look bad. No, Peter. You're doing that all by yourself. His nostrils flared. You're embarrassing Mom. I stood. Your mother came to me. She was lonely. She was tired of being treated like a burden. I didn't force her. I listened to her. She's not well. You keep saying that. Funny how the more she tries to live, the more you insist she's broken. He pointed a finger at me. This ends now. I stepped closer. No, Peter. This is where it starts. That night, I sat in my recliner and read every letter that came in. Dozens. From strangers, veterans, widows, divorced grandmothers, people who'd been cast aside with polite phrases like, you need rest, or don't worry about it. They told me their stories, their pain, their fight. And I realized this wasn't just about me. It never was. I was the flint, but they were the fire. I started a blog with Angela's help. I called it Not Done Yet. Every week, I posted a story. Mine, theirs, ours. Each post was a punch to the gut of every son, daughter, administrator, and wellness expert, who thought they could speak for us instead of to us. And people listened. Because truth, no matter how old, has a way of cracking through silence. But not everyone liked it. A week after my fourth post, about guardianship abuse, I got a letter in the mail. Not an email. A real letter. Certified. From Peter's lawyer. They were requesting an official psychological evaluation. Because, quote, Edward McKenna may be exhibiting signs of paranoia, delusion, and cognitive decline. I stared at the letter for a long time. Then I laughed. Not a light chuckle. A deep, full-belly, head-tilted-back laugh that probably scared the birds outside. They were scared. Not of my age, of my words, of my fire. Because I wasn't asking permission anymore. I was taking my seat back at the table, loudly. We're standing at the edge now. What comes next will burn the mask right off their perfect little system. Stick around to see what happens when the quiet man starts shouting back. When I opened that certified letter, I didn't see paper. I saw a leash. Not a real one, of course. A psychological leash. One meant to pull me into submission, into silence, into one of those beige-carpeted memory care units where they sing show tunes and serve peas you can gum. Psychological evaluation. What a clever little phrase. What they really meant was, we're going to poke your brain until we find something we can use against you. Paranoid? Me? Let me tell you something. If your son shows up at your door uninvited, tries to remove your friend from your house, calls the government on you, and then sends you legal papers, that's not paranoia. That's a hostile takeover attempt disguised as concern. And you know what I did with that letter? I framed it, no joke, right above the coffee pot, just so I can see it every morning and remind myself, they're scared. Angela, the journalist, came by that afternoon. She saw the letter. She read it. She blinked twice. Are they serious? They're very serious. That's what makes it so funny. Do you want me to cover this? No, I said. I want to handle this one myself. She gave me a look, half admiration, half concern. The kind of look Margaret used to give me when I said I was going to fix the sink myself. Just don't underestimate them, she said. They've got money, lawyers, influence. I've got time, I said, and a printer that still works. So I wrote my own letter. Dear Peter, thank you for your thoughtful concern. I've attached a list of my daily habits, which include cooking, walking a mile, and remembering the name of my third-grade math teacher, Mrs. Havers, in case you're curious. In addition, please find enclosed a notarized statement from my doctor confirming I'm of sound mind, a copy of your last voicemail, where you called me unstable, and a banana bread recipe, because clearly you need more fiber in your life. Yours, in full cognitive control. Dad P.S. I've also CC'd this to your HR department, because I believe employers should know when their employees try to gaslight seniors into silence. 2 days later, silence. No reply. No lawyer. No knock at the door. Just the quiet sound of a bully retreating into the safety of bureaucracy. But the story didn't stop there, because something was happening. My blog, Not Done Yet, was spreading. Hundreds of emails. People I'd never met writing things like, I thought I was the only one. They tried to lock me away after my fall. I was bruised, not broken. Keep going. You're not just speaking for you. Even a nurse from a retirement community wrote anonymously, we're told not to question family decisions, even when they hurt the residents. It's wrong. I started organizing posts by theme: loneliness, financial control, medical neglect, legal manipulation, each story like a page in a book they never wanted written. And then came the invitation. A local radio station, morning segment, live. They wanted me to speak. I said yes. Angela drove me there, said I needed someone to hold my coffee and keep me from flipping tables. She's a good kid, sharp, fierce, probably my favorite person under 50. The studio was small, but the mics were real, and the host, Claire, was respectful. We went live at 8:05. She asked questions. I answered. About being alone, about being underestimated, about being erased politely with phrases like, "Maybe it's time to slow down," and "Are you sure you're okay living alone?" And then Claire asked the big one. "What do you want people to know about aging, Ed?" I paused. Not for drama, for clarity. "I want them to know we're not expired," I said. "We're experienced. And experience isn't something to be locked away. It's something to be listened to." "And what do you say to people like your son, who claim they're just trying to help?" I say, if you're really helping, you don't need to silence us to do it. Claire nodded. The phone lines lit up. Calls from seniors, from caregivers, from adult children feeling guilty, angry, confused. It was bigger than me, and I finally felt it. That night, Loretta came by. She looked lighter. "I heard the show," she said. "Peter didn't know I was listening." I grinned. "What did he say?" He left the room. We sat on the porch, two old rebels watching the street lights flicker on. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For not giving up." I shrugged. Didn't have much else to do. She laughed, really laughed. And for once, I didn't feel old. I felt alive. 2 mornings later, another letter came. This time, not legal. From the city. They wanted me to speak at the annual Senior Advocacy Conference, keynote speaker. They'd read my blog, listened to the show. They wanted to hear more. So I did what any 74-year-old man would do when asked to stand in front of a crowd and speak his truth. I went shopping, bought a new jacket, burgundy, a little loud, just how I like it. Angela helped me print slides. Loretta baked cookies. And I wrote my speech. Not for applause, not for praise, but for every voice they tried to mute. For every person who was told to calm down, sit still, or stop causing trouble. For every soul who'd been aged into invisibility. When I stepped on that stage, my hands shook. Not with fear, with power. I looked out at the crowd. Dozens of faces, silver-haired and wide-eyed. Waiting, and I said, "My name is Ed. I live alone. I bake banana bread. I read the newspaper. I call out injustice when I see it. And I am not going anywhere." They clapped. Then they stood. Then they cheered. And in that moment, I knew I had taken back everything they tried to steal. This isn't the end. There's one more move to make. And when I make it, the entire table turns. Don't miss how I finish what they started. They always expect you to fade out quietly, to sit in your armchair, sip weak tea, and wait. Wait for your memory to go. Wait for the world to stop asking for your opinion. Wait for your name to become a whisper in someone else's family tree. They weren't ready for me. After the keynote speech, something shifted. I started getting letters. Real ones. Paper, ink, envelopes with shaky handwriting, and postage stamps from every corner of the country. One man from Kansas wrote, "I used to be the mayor. Now, my family won't let me hold a butter knife at dinner. Thank you for reminding me. I'm still me." A woman from North Carolina said, "They told me it was normal to feel invisible. You reminded me it isn't." I kept every single one, stacked in a shoebox in the corner of my study, next to the flag from my service days, and the photo of Margaret in her garden. That box became something holy. And then, something unexpected happened. Peter showed up again. But this time, no angry face, no clipboard, no lawyer. He stood on my porch holding a cardboard box. I thought maybe we could talk, he said. Now, I'm not stupid. I didn't let him off the hook. But I'm also not made of stone. So I invited him in. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one I'd threatened to flip not 2 weeks earlier. He opened the box. Inside were photos, old ones, of me, him, Margaret, Loretta, his brother. One I hadn't seen in decades. Me teaching him to ride a bike, arms out, smile wide, like I believed he could fly. I found these in Mom's closet, he said. She kept them all. She has good taste. He looked down, twisted his wedding ring, avoided my eyes. I read your blog, he finally said. I waited. You were right, about everything. I didn't say anything. And I was wrong, he added, about how I treated you, about Mom. I thought I was helping. No, Peter, you were managing. There's a difference. He nodded. I know that now. That's when I saw it. Not regret. Not guilt. Shame. The real kind. The kind that doesn't come with excuses or self-pity. The kind that comes when you realize you treated someone you love like a liability. I didn't know how to deal with watching her grow older, he admitted. So I tried to control it. And her. And you. Welcome to the club, I said. We've all tried to control what we're afraid of. He looked at me. She wants to come back, he said. Wants to live on her own again. Good, I replied. Because she never stopped being capable. You just stopped seeing it. We sat in silence. The kind that isn't heavy. The kind that says everything's been said. And now it's time to choose what comes next. 2 weeks later, Loretta moved into the small house on the other side of me. The one that had been for sale forever. Peter helped her. Quietly. No clipboard this time. Just boxes and a cautious smile. And one evening, we sat on our porches with matching cups of chamomile tea and watched the sunset like two revolutionaries who'd survived the war. Because in a way, we had. The blog kept growing. The radio station offered me a monthly segment. Angela helped me put together a podcast. Nothing fancy. Just a mic, a laptop, and my voice reading letters from other seniors. We called it Still Here. And people listened. More than I expected. Because there's something powerful about hearing a 78-year-old woman from Ohio tell the world she still dances when no one's looking. Or a 69-year-old man in Oregon admitting he cries in the shower because no one hugs him anymore. It wasn't just storytelling. It was resistance. Gentle. Raw. Undeniable. One day, I got a call from a producer in New York. They wanted to adapt the blog into a documentary. Not about you, the woman clarified. About all of you. A tapestry of voices. Something America hasn't heard before. What it means to grow old and still matter. I laughed. Sounds like a miracle. No, she said. Sounds like a reckoning. We filmed it over 6 months. I traveled. I met people like me. Tough, tired, beautiful, loud. We talked in parks, nursing homes, front porches, church basements. We cried. We laughed. We swore. We remembered. When the premiere aired, it trended on streaming. Not because of me, because of us. The forgotten ones. The dismissed. The too old. The set aside. We stepped into the light, and people saw us. Maybe for the first time. I still live in the same house. Same creaky floorboards. Same crooked porch swing. Same kettle that whistles too loud when it's mad. But now, neighbors stop by. Kids wave from bikes. Even the young woman who once tossed my banana bread in the trash now leaves me fresh zucchini from her garden. She doesn't say much, but once she left a note that read, "You were right. I just didn't know how to listen." So here I am, older than yesterday, wiser than most, still sharp, still sarcastic, still standing. And if you think this is the end of the story, it's not. Because people like me, we don't go quietly. We go loudly, with stories, with laughter, with banana bread and blog posts and radio mics and porch lights that never turn off. We go with everything we've got. Because we're still here, and we're not done yet. End of story.